Alright, we've actually got a pretty fucking big update this time. Like, I've got 2 boxes here, but there's actually a total of 6 packages. I'm just beginning with the boxes because they are so big that if I don't begin with them, I won't be able to open everything else. Let's see. We'll begin with this White Stuff box on top. Let's see. Feels like there's actually some things in here I want to take a look at. They're being very careful because there was stuff that did not show up on Amazon, so I ordered it from Right Stuff. And I kind of separate my orders to make sure I can guarantee that things ship. This is based on bad experiences from, geez, a couple decades ago maybe. Okay, so this box is empty. I've got Fairy Tale there. Let's take a look at this. I think I died. Yeah, we had these, and then draw a card. Sarah Pluto. Interesting. And then we got this, which is a much more special release, but it's still a box, and it would still be a problem if I didn't open it right now. What the fuck did I even get? I don't remember. Be the beginning, or yeah, this looks like anime. Good. Shout Factory, Be the Beginning. Complete season 1. Well, shit, that is a very special box. It's also kind of heavy, so let's continue on opening. We've got so many things to open. I think I've got a completely blank day where nothing is expected to arrive sometime this month. Which means I should probably prepare the next cooking video. Probably try to record it this weekend or something and then hold on to it for a rainy day. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm getting in there, so we're going a little quicker. Holy shit. Holy shit. And then 2 more things. These might be hentai, and there might be a hentai buried in there. I don't know. It looked like there was, I think, one that maybe should have shipped. Yeah, I think I got the DVD version of this last week. And there's the Blu-ray version. Oh, yeah, that's already a little... Huh, somebody taped it shut. That's worrisome, but okay. So basically, I don't think I got this before, but Double Disc Delight. So it looks like 1 and 2 might have been collections. I couldn't find the Amazon listing for 1, but number 2 was 2 things I already had. And I noticed there's an upcoming Double Disc Delights 4, and I think these are things I don't already have. It's a little loot on the back, but nothing outside 8 enticing episodes. Some of these maybe sound familiar, but I don't know. All I know is, you know, I guess that was a catch-up Blu-ray based on stuff. Let me... Yeah, here's another hentai. Although this one I kind of forgot was a hentai because, you know, I mean, obviously it's very perverse in its thing, but this is what a lot of non-hentai look like. But I think there you can kind of see it says 18 plus. And it looked familiar, I guess, because I have it on DVD. It's probably a good idea to just once over these, just to... I'm not seeing anything else that immediately strikes me as hentai. But, oh, it didn't really hurt, it just... There was a little more coarseness than I'm used to when opening something using my fingernail technique, I guess. Oh, I can feel that the piece of paper on the back is coming off, and this thing is... Whoa. So it's basically this thing. Oh, interesting. This looks like it might be regions A and B. 2 Blu-ray discs. What is that? One. Compact disc. Probably region 1. Or maybe that's just saying there's a single compact disc. There's no region coding on compact discs. Okay. Pilot film that inspired the Netflix series. Clean op-ed interview with 160-page handbook soundtrack. Okay, so production IG or LG? Why can't I fucking remember? And Netflix. So I'm guessing this is something. This is probably like one of those CGI anime sorts of movies that I think Netflix kind of semi-officially owns, but is anime still. It feels like, yeah. We'll put this up here, so then we can start taking a peek at this. This feels like a giant-ass poster card. Oh, there's more people. It's really hard to tell if this is CGI stuff, though. If it's not, based on these stills alone, it looks pretty good. I can feel there's another one in there. I'm really curious who this Gordon Freeman looking character is. Okay, I guess this guy, now that I see that he also has wings and a Sansai, kind of curious. There is some repeated imagery, which could probably mean that you know, the non-anime look that I was commenting on has more to do. Okay. So we've got our 2 discs there. I was wondering if it did something weird like that. And then all this stuff that you can't see because it's off the side of the camera, but I'm trying to think how I can even show it to y'all. I don't want to rest this heavy thing on that keyboard. Oh, and then the music track is back here, and here's the music track list. Interesting. A very uncommon way to package this. This is not in there straight at all, so we'll do that. And pick that shit that I knocked onto the floor back up. Okay. Now to get it all back in. It's interesting because, you know, the shape is very reminiscent of the NIS releases. Except, of course, that's yet another take on some of the idea. So, we've got the Wonderland, a film by Keiichi Hara. A sticker Let's see if we've got some sexy t-shirt sleeve ish. More like it's cute. Wow, that actually flew. Taking a look at the back. Okay, so we've got special features here. Cast interview. Amazing adventure, audio commentary. Colorful 16-page booklet. I'm just wondering if I saw that character last night as an avatar in VR chat. I see an A there. Just a DVD there. That's probably... So it's DVD Region 1. Okay. Yes, and this is Blu-ray plus DVD. Who released this? Shout Factory. Interesting. So I think Shout Factory worked on that too. It's a really neat looking movie, of course. I don't know what it would be about. Maybe nothing important. Looks like we got our DVD and our Blu-ray versions. Some trees, or tree root stuff growing on apples. And I think they said this is the 16-page booklet, but I guess we're just flipping through these. Definitely feels shorter than 16 pages, but I guess it's like a front and back page. Yeah, that's the way books say pages, so. Next up, I was wondering what this was, and it's actually One Piece Stampede. I guess because it was at an angle here, I didn't quite see this as Luffy. Instead it looked like some sort of mask guy. Anyways, I think I had a choice here whether or not I went for Steelbook, and so obviously I went Steelbook. I know I don't always get like the limited edition versions of everything if like they come out noticeably late, but this one I got. It's feature film plus that Blu-ray feature, and then this is the DVD feature. So I guess we can't take a look on the inside doing that, but it doesn't look like there's much to the inside on the inside here. Just some good decorative flame, I think. And of course I forgot to put this back in. Digimon Adventure Last Evolution Kizuna. 20 Digimon Adventure. 20 years Digimon with people. English names, so it could be like English voice actors for some of the characters. Or it could be people who have been in charge with bringing it over. I guess I'm not sure, because I don't recognize the names, and they're not names I normally would recognize. So we'll take a peek on the back. Another Shot Factory thing. Region A, DVD Region 1. See, I keep reading it as Region P, and I'm like, that's not fucking it. It's definitely me needing to look a little closer to make sure it says 1. Because I haven't seen enough DVD Region 2 things to know that I can recognize those from a distance. I can barely recognize Region 1 from a distance, because I usually don't look for it. We've got Digimon. We have special features, which is the remembering of 20 years thing. Okay. Got DVD and Blu-ray. Pretty straightforward. And then we've got Digimon. Pretty straightforward, but let's see if I can up the pace. After School Dice Club. No idea. Looks like they're playing games, and we want to look under this to see if we've got sexy shoulder of uniform. Ooh la la. I guess actually if we talk about sexy stuff, it does reveal the curve of that back, which is definitely a visual indicator, I guess. Their friendship is all fun and games. I see a region A and a B. I see an English dub. Special features, we have manga, anime for special message, board game, walk, commercial. Kind of strange, but maybe not unexpected. I had trouble telling where one special feature ended and the next began, so I can't tell you how many are actually listed back there, but let's get to the part that's kind of neater, which is, you know, taking a peek at the inside, which usually I like it better when the discs have anime characters, but that's actually some pretty nice anime character background art. And I like to be surprised by things that are like, oh, well, I didn't expect to see that in there, but that was pretty cool. Like some of the neat backgrounds that appear in some of this stuff. So what's this about a killer? Am I holding this? ID invaded. Or is this id invaded? This is kind of heavy. A fat guy like me could throw his back up trying to hold these DVDs up. I guess I'll do that, but first, this. Yeah, there we go. So taking a look, I see a region A and B. I see what looks like an English dub. Come on, focus, focus. Yeah. Special features seem to be listed here. Interview with director, character design, director. Okay. And I don't even know what the fuck this even is. It's interesting because it kind of feels, maybe not like it's the same show as me, but it's kind of got some of the same sort of vibe or energy or something. Oh, there is actually an anime character there. What's wrong with your face? Probably something. He doesn't look too traumatized by it, so he looks like he's handling it pretty well. But then again, he also looks like maybe he's not handling it pretty well. He might be very psychopathic. I'm noticing this short character there, and I'm trying to decide if they are girl. I think they might be. I mean, this guy's so tall, he just doesn't fit in the box art or in the art behind the thing. Kind of reminds me of the DVD release of Flag for some reason. It's a very male cast, even though I can kind of barely see this angrier L, I guess. In another business suit. Which is why I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a shorter guy, a gal. Very curious. And let's see, then it also came with a booklet. The limited edition art book, according to this. And I think this might answer the question. Actually, Koharu. I'm trying to think if that actually sounds like a name. That looks like a female business attire. Well, that's kind of cool. I was going to say, I'm not sure if this character is male or female, but that makes me think female, because normally guys don't wear sports bras. Okay, this anime is playing with some very interesting character designs. Maybe not good, you don't have to agree with me on whether or not they're good, but they're like, playing with my head a little bit. Oh, this is one of those things like that thing. I'm sure y'all understand exactly what I'm talking about. We've got postcards. They're not the same person, are they? No, they had different names. Is there one more in there? I don't know. Oh, yeah, there's one back there. And then we got this acrylic. Is that what it is? Acrylic thing. Acrylic standee assembly guide. So this seems to be adding like a lot to the weight. This may actually be worth doing, because normally I take those acrylic standees and I actually do assemble them and then stand them and then run out of space for more anime figurines as usual. But I won't do that now, because I got more DVD to go through. Kono Oto Tomare, Sounds of Life. Let's see if we can see some sexy instrument, I guess. And more sexy instrument. Oh, this is season 2. Would explain why maybe the name and the... I was going to say uniforms, but it's not just the uniforms. It's kind of the way the uniforms art style are presented is familiar. But I don't explicitly remember getting season 1, so I must have forgotten too. So I see region A and B in English dub. You know, for those of you who like to import, this is turning out to be a really good day, I guess. I don't know how many of y'all still actively watch, but it does mean that a lot of these can be imported to Europe. Which, you know, if they're releasing it as region A and B, that is the point. It's usually Funimation. Although there was some Shout Factory stuff as well, wasn't there? Special features. Clean opening and closing. Opening and ending. There's some pretty pictures. I feel like I skipped one. I did skip one. Very nice. Then we've got upside down guy and girl. And it looks like the background is clouds, so I'm not going to dig that out. But I am going to keep moving forward. Y'all did hear that notification, and that means somebody asking me something on the work computer. But collect 2 exclusive art cards. So this is Fairy Tail Final Season Set 24. So I guess this means we're getting closer and closer to maybe. So we've got Region A, we've got English dub, contains special features. I'll be honest, I'm having trouble kind of parsing that that font. I want to keep going. Let's see. So this goes there, and this goes there. I mean, at least these are the Blu-ray discs. They tend to be way more scratch resistant. Discs 4748. 4748. I was wondering if I had 2 different pictures of her. You'd think I would remember her name because she was there from like episode 1, but I'll be honest. Lucky may be the only one I remember. And if I got his name wrong, then obviously I don't remember. It's that obvious. Keeping going. Next up we have Mobile Suit Gundam NT Special Edition, which I don't think I have, but I'll be honest, I'm going a little autopilot-y on some of the Gundam stuff because I'm just completely lost as to what I have and have not gotten. So we will... So there's something weird about this. So like I can get this Blu-ray out, and if you're thinking something looks off about that, yeah, it's much more thin than any Blu-ray I've ever seen. Okay. So it's got a booklet here. I think it is. Actually, maybe I've just gotten so many thick ones lately. No, it's the same size as that Hentai DVD. So I think I've just gotten so many thick ones recently or today that I just forgot what the size of a Blu-ray case should feel like. Oh my god, this is some really tenacious plastic. It's now a plastic landmine on the ground. Hold on. Focus camera. I see a region A. English dub. That's not the Star Wars thing, is it? Star Wars poster pose. I don't think so, but I can't say for certain. Oh. Well, there's Gundam NT, the special edition. Wow. Okay, so I can't get that back in there partially because this thing is stubborn. Now I think about it, that was actually up above. Not that that matters, but that's just how I try to do things. Next up we got Boruto set 7, I think it was. Pretty sure I didn't already have this, but right now I'm drawing a blank. I'm sure y'all will tell me if I messed up. But I'm pretty sure this is all okay now. Just have to get these out of plastic. So yeah, these were ones where I was kind of surprised I couldn't find them on Amazon. Although now I think about it, even though these are like the 7th set, I thought maybe with the 6th they started giving them a name. So instead of calling them set 7, they're being called this other really confusing stuff, which might either be confusing Amazon, or Amazon is not stocking some stuff as well as it used to. Okay, well, there we go. Could not tell what that one was a picture of until I adjusted it like that. And as usual, the Blu-ray version has that, but it also has Boruto on the inside. And, you know, one of the unfortunate things about this is I've kind of heard of the general idea of where Boruto goes, and I can't say that I feel that motivated to continue watching it or resume watching it. You know, I finished Naruto, and Naruto kind of went its own crazy way. But I don't know. The characters kind of look neat. And here we have Shirobako, which this is a re-release, but this has a new English dub. And yeah, this one I couldn't find on Amazon. I think it was only listed in parts 1 and 2. I don't know if that sounds right. So let's take a look at the back here. Region A only. 24 episodes means there was a part 1 and a part 2. English dub. Watching anime is fun, making it is a whole lot harder. Yes. This sounds familiar. Well, those are our 3 discs. Okay. Well, like I said, today's was a pretty big update, so let's completely fail to juggle all this stuff. Here's this week's anime DVD collection update. So before I talk about the stuff I watched, that work message is kind of amusing because it was actually one of my coworkers stumbling upon my YouTube channel. So, hi Gotham. He's yeah. I'm actually thinking he'll have to see this tomorrow, especially since for him today is almost over. He's you know, he went back home to family for stuff. I'm trying to remember what it all was, but let's get away from that and start talking about anime. I guess I can put these down. So, first up, I threw on Kimono Michi, Rise Up. So, you know, I didn't quite have the idea right, but the premise is, extreme wrestling champion ends up in isekai world, and he has an unhealthy obsession of animals. And of course, because it's a medieval fantasy magical world, that means that you have demi-humans, which of course are going to be part animal, hence some of the setup here was actually very well. It started out very well. It had lots of really great moments and was fun throughout most of it. I think it just kind of suffered from a little couple problems, which makes it hard to keep momentum, but doesn't necessarily make it impossible. I've kind of generalized the thought as the characterizations seem off. Like, of the characters on here, I think the little dragon girl is probably the one that was the most fine. The issue is one of, I don't know, it's not a specific thing, it's kind of character to character. Like, our main character, he's actually really fun to watch, and he's just kind of this unstoppable force, and that's what makes him kind of fun. It's like these idiots are calling him the beast killer, but he's such a lover of animals that he won't kill beasts, so he hates them for that. When the first thing he did was he didn't kill them, he tamed them, but I guess they didn't really realize that's what he had done. So he should be really called the beast tamer, which is something I think he'd actually appreciate because that's technically what he's trying to do. But, you know, this show is about people not understanding a lot of that stuff, and it's very fun in that regard. The main issue with him, though, is it kind of portrays him as being so single-minded in his love of animals that it's actually detrimental to them being able to do anything, I guess, with regards to moving forward to the future. And it's a problem because he's kind of also portrayed as being this ultimate wrestling champion, and there's nothing about the medieval fantasy environment that makes you think that he wouldn't have the same sorts of problems in the real world, and then that would raise the question of how he could become a wrestling champion in the first place. So it's one of those things where you can kind of feel he should be more competent than he is, even in his single-mindedness. But he isn't, so there's a little disconnect there. And it would be around when the story in the season drags just a little bit, because it's sort of in this slump of, okay, the characters need money, but we're dangerously close to retreading grounds here. And it's not bad, but I think his is the main problem just because he's kind of the main character. The second would be the wolf girl here, because when they set up that situation, they kind of need a straight man. And the problem is they introduced her as not being very good at being a straight man. So she just kind of gets forced into that role because she's the only character in the group that seems to be able to. Because, like, when we're first introduced to her, she had made this really bonkers, weird financial investment that put her on the line to be sold into slavery, but her attitude about actually being in that predicament of about to be sold was one of, is this person not really aware of reality? They seem to not be having that great of a grasp. And there's some parts of it where you can kind of understand they sort of do, but then they're coming up with these clever excuses, especially with the encounters with the adventurer who keeps wanting to team up with the beast killer and keeps getting knocked out. So she keeps finding his equipment, and she knows she's not really finding it, but it seems a little more in line with this introduction of her character and less in line with her being the one to say, guys, we don't have any money, we need to make money. Like, again, it feels like they kind of said, well, she's the only one that we can introduce into that role because he's too obsessed with animals, she's too obsessed with eating, and the vampire is a different characterization problem where they introduce her and then at the very beginning of the next episode, she's just asleep with all these alcohol bottles. So we're like, oh, guess she's a boozer. But it's a very sudden transition. It's not necessarily one that's off with the character. It's just one of those things of, they kind of didn't get that stuff right. And I think that, and of course, its way of portraying animals' impressions of being given human affection are very unanimal-like, but it's okay just because, you watch it and you're like, this is not what they don't really think animals are like that. Right? And you can keep asking that question and just try to enjoy it despite all those little weird things, because it's not like this is the only series that does most of that stuff. I think that they just stand out a little bit because it was very fun, even though it has, its own little flaws in there. So, overall, yeah, fun. Very fun. Did I hear that it was from the person that made Konosuba? I could kind of see it, just because of trying to turn isekai a little bit on its head and financial woe stuff, living everyday life sort of stuff. Although Konosuba, I think, executes that a little bit better, although, don't know. Do I remember Season 2 too well? Do I remember Season 1 too well? I need to re-watch those, and I probably will at some point. Next up, I watched Case Closed, Zero the Enforcer. And it was entertaining. Now, it's really weird going into it, because one of y'all had mentioned that it actually outsold Endgame in Japan. And I tried not to think about it too much, but it was hard to not evaluate it with that on the mind. So, it's very entertaining. I don't even remember how entertaining it is relative to the other Case Closed movies. It gets really hard to follow them because there's too much break in between them, and I'm not that big of an expert. I do remember they always tend to be good, and I thought this one was pretty good and entertaining as well. A couple of things with physics that I'm not sure I agree with, but then again, it's sort of like Kimono Michi in that you watch this and you're like, well, I hope they don't think this is really what it means to give affection to an animal, because that would mean they have absolutely no idea. And the same thing could be said here with like driving of cars or something like that. Maybe even other digital things. But, you set that aside. I'd say the biggest flaw with this movie is actually a personal one, of course, lots of personal problems with a lot of stuff, and I try to make sure I'm aware of those. And I really don't like stories that begin with somebody being falsely accused, especially when it's a kind of almost obvious false accusation and people are just being dumb-headed buttfucks about it. It's like, no, there was evidence. It's like, yeah, but there's absolutely no way you could say that evidence could only get on there on one way, and the movie eventually goes that way, but doesn't excuse their early, well, we have to move forward as if this is the truth. And that may be kind of sort of like Phoenix Wright, and that Phoenix Wright, as I understand it, is also a criticism of the Japanese court system, which sets up a prosecutor defense against each other, but you don't have things that allow that basically, you don't have ideas of like presumption of innocence where the prosecution has to demonstrate stuff and the defense has to have that evidence in advance so that they can make sure that it's telling what it's supposed to say, that it's relevant, that things like, I don't know. Maybe that stuff is there in Japan, but it's my understanding there's that criticism, and maybe that same sort of erroneous court flow stuff is kind of present in here, but I don't know. But when it comes to the actual mystery and it unfolding, it's I thought it was entertaining. It's just, I kind of got stuck on watching it and thinking, okay, if this oversold Endgame in Japan, that's probably more of an indication of just how not as prevalent, I'm going to guess, the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies were there, which would make sense. They're a very American construct, which doesn't mean that people from other countries can't enjoy them, but it probably means that it didn't, maybe it wasn't as summer blockbustery there starting out, maybe it didn't maintain momentum. Could be that the American way of thinking could encourage more enjoyment of superhero stuff, which is why... No, there's plenty of superhero stuff in Japan, but they kind of manifest in different ways. Not like radically, but kind of subtly different ways, I think. And maybe it's a little more fringe there, I don't know. So it's really hard to say. I wouldn't say it's better than Endgame per se. Not that Endgame was a flawless movie, but Endgame kind of represented the ending of a very important piece of cinematic history. Whereas it's really hard to tell if something like this is, because it sounded like there's been developments in the series that maybe I haven't been able to follow, and there's stuff here that's kind of interesting in relation to that. But it's not like any of these movies promise to resolve major conflicts with the main story. They're always about new little conflicts introduced, but the movies are about introducing them on a more grandiose level, so that stakes are higher and things like that. And it's weird. It's weird. It's interesting. It's a good movie. It's all weird. And then last but not least, My Hero Academia Season 4 Part 1. Which I guess I can't really say out here how far it got, other than maybe like 12 or 13 episodes. It probably says on the back. Can't really see if that's a 12 or 13. But, pretty good. So basically, my Friday friend already mentioned that they were going to watch this. And I mentioned that I might have to put off watching it to watch it with him. And yeah, he ended up choosing to watch this over finishing Goblin Slayer, which is fair. Goblin Slayer might not necessarily be his thing, but he's spent 3 seasons on this. He's invested in the characters quite a bit more. He wants to see what happens, especially since, you know, they keep opening up the universe a little bit and exploring new ideas. Usually ideas new to My Hero Academia, but actually executed in very refreshing ways. And this one was actually pretty similar. It's so basically, I would say it actually ended at a pretty... not it ended. So Disc 1 ended at a point where we, empathizing with the characters in a certain situation, want to see resolution, maybe not as much as they do, but definitely more than default. So the first disc leaves you wanting that, and my friend's actually going on a trip for a couple of weeks, so he won't be here this next Friday, so he wanted to see if we could actually get back together a second day and watch the second disc, because they're nice and balanced episode-wise. And we did, and I have to say that I don't like where it ended, just because it's not quite finished with stuff yet, it seems, but it did give some form of catharsis regarding that. But the truth of the matter is, it's not the setup, it's the transition into the battle that was happening at the end of this is actually pretty fucking epic. Like, I almost kind of wish they had paid attention to and did stuff like this, I think for the Two Heroes movie? The other One Piece movie, not One Piece, the other My Hero Academia movie that happened kind of during Season 3, but didn't really have anything to do with Season 3, but it was kind of mentioned in an episode. Sort of. As a sort of side story thing. Anyways, I remember that ending kind of big, but it didn't feel like it was as big as this one was. Now, it was interesting watching this because I thought there were a couple telltale, okay, these things make me think this is exactly what's going to happen. And they did happen. So it's interesting that there was some predictability there, but it wasn't bad in that regard. I guess the issue is I definitely need Season 4 Part 2 to feel the complete catharsis for this, because there are going to be some ramifications of this, but we need that heroic interpretation of those ramifications which have been set up. So it's quite unfortunate. If you have Season 4 Part 1, you can watch it. Might not be a bad idea to wait for Part 2 though, because again, you get some catharsis but not closure for a story arc. But yeah, overall, entertaining stuff. So let's see. Outside of that, I'm not sure if there's anything major to really talk about. There was a very interesting game of Among Us that I played over the weekend, but you have to understand that it could be considered close to Chinese curse levels of interesting. Where if you're not aware of the idea of may you live in interesting times, well, that basically means that you don't have the mundaneness of day-to-day work, which probably means that you have war forcing you to find what your next meal is going to be. You know, that's interesting, and that's not very good times to be in. So you could say that this is sort of similar to that. Obviously not as that bad. But basically, I consider it the most Among Us game that this gaming group could have done, because it brought out the worst of absolutely all of us in a way that only that Among Us intends to try to bring out in people. People talking over other people, people getting heated, not hearing each other, talking over each other, imposters not necessarily having to do as much, but every once in a while just fanning the flames a little bit more, everybody voting for the wrong person at the wrong time, cleared completely innocent people dying, clearly guilty people getting away because people couldn't say anything. It was chaos. And I consider it to be very amusing, but admittedly a lot of those people are now completely burned out from Among Us, at least with that group. Which is unfortunate, because I think they should be able to look back on that and laugh and say, yeah, I guess the competitive nature in me just took over. I mean, I've got a reputation for not getting angry, even though I do, and I would wonder if maybe it's more like when I do get angry, I get really angry, but if I don't, then I don't, and most people are used to kind of simmering levels of anger happening here and there, something like that. But yeah, I got a little heated as well, and I have to look back at that as amusing, because, you know, okay, I was on the losing team. It was because vital information I had did not get picked on by other people, but that's kind of what makes it fun. It's the same thing with Fall Guys, where it's complete bullshit, but you have to get your enjoyment from playing it and realizing that it's complete bullshit while you're doing it. And that can be hard, and with Among Us, since this got a little more personal and involved with people who knew each other, you know, it's a little harder, but I'm hoping everybody's able to come back later and say, that is kind of amusing. Yeah, the competitive side in me really did take over. Yeah, the part of me that doesn't want to be ignored just kind of exploded a little bit there. You had people giving up, you had people instigating, you had people pointing fingers, and I think it was fun. It's just too bad I didn't record it. Maybe it's for the best for some of those people. Maybe they can't get over it as much, and, you know, that's them. But, yeah. I'm wondering if that means Among Us will taper off a little bit. Maybe Phantasmophobia that seems to be what's replacing Among Us as the... Oh, this is what everybody's playing. It's kind of weird that that seems to be happening just a little bit more now. I'm wondering if people just gotten a little crazy being blocked in. It's like, we all have to play the same games now. And they have to find little games and not these big... Oh, yeah, we could all just play Counter-Strike and work on our 360 no-scopes, but... I think there's something else going on where people are looking for fresh ideas. Not like things that haven't been done before, per se, but maybe interesting takes on them, and it's weird. There seems to have been some sort of mob that came out of that. I hope the people that have gotten these small influxes, not small influxes, but these short but enormous influxes of money have been good. Oh well. Well, I think that covers about everything I was going to cover here. I think this is going to be a pretty long video, so I hope I'll be able to get it up onto YouTube today. Who knows? Sometimes the processing seems to take forever. But guess I can't tell until I stop this and start processing it. So y'all, have a nice week.